Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the PhanTV Preview Show. I'm Dan.
And I'm Amber. And coming up this week, we will look at news around the league, the game review panel and DOPS updates, our exclusive player interviews, the preview of our home game tonight against the Swindon Wildcats, and the latest offers from the club. But before we get into this week's episode, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button to be told when we release new content each week. But first, here's the news.
So let's start with Phantom's results from last weekend and last night's game. Last week, it was Peterborough Phantoms away on Saturday against Milton Keynes Lightning. They went down 5-3 against the Lightning. We did cover this quite a bit last week. However, Phantoms did pretty well for two periods, and Lightning did very well on their power play, picking up 3 goals in their 4 power play opportunities. The reverse game, the home fixture from last week, was really pretty much the opposite. 14 goal, absolute goal fest. It was a fairly even contest for the first half of the game. Each team equalising after the other team go ahead, so it was very neck and neck. And then the Lightning suddenly broke ahead, scoring 3 in a row, 3 unanswered goals to make it 6-5 in the third period. However, Cam Huff struck 3 times in 3 minutes, including an empty net goal to put the Phantoms 2 goals ahead for a very entertaining win. So Cam picked up 5 goals in that game. Luke Ferrara had 5 assists, and Yanni Laakkonen, the third member of the Unstoppables, picked up 1 goal plus 5 assists for that. If you're watching this game, if you watched the game last week, feel free, put some comments down below, and we'll read out some of the more family-friendly ones. Last night, Peterborough Phantoms travelled down to Hampshire to take on the Basingstoke Bison. Phantoms assistant coach and Phantoms 2 head coach, player coach, Nathan Pollard laced them up. A rare appearance, but evidently Coach Ash Tate decided that a little bit of depth would be worth bringing along for the game. When you look at the Bison's position, I think they are probably slightly out of position, and this game was a challenge. And the Bison really did come out as the solid winners, as Phantoms just couldn't hold on late in the game. Despite having one of the top power play units in the league, Phantoms were unable to get anything from the 2 power play opportunities they had. However, on the upside, Cam did score 2 more goals, and that puts him currently 9 goals clear of second place in the current rankings. So let's have a look at the game review panel. Amber.
Okay, so the game review panel for last week. On Saturday the 27th, Romford Raiders, Brandon Ailiff and Basingstoke Bison, Adam Harding both received 1 penalty point for fighting. Solway Sharks, number 23, Jonathan Yantis, received 2 points for illegal equipment. His neck guard fell off during play and he didn't leave the ice immediately. 4 points were also given for a second misconduct of the game for the player, where there was abuse at the official at the end of the game against the Telford Tigers. Romford Raiders head coach Sean Easton was also suspended for 2 games as the team reached a total of 50 penalty points, meaning he was out of the game on Sunday against the Basingstoke Bisons and also last Friday's game against the Lightning, but he should be set to return this evening. On Sunday the 28th, Romford Raiders, number 13, Elliot Dewey, he received 1 point for boarding. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much everything. Dan, do you want to go on to the DOPS news?
Yep. So last Friday, it's the 26th, Josh Hodgkinson picked up a major penalty for fighting. That has been upgraded to fighting and aggressor. He's received a 1-game ban and 5 penalty points. That penalty was changed from 5+ game to 2 plus 5 plus game. So 27 penalty minutes in total. On Saturday 27th, DOPS got to have a day off. Nothing got referred to them. And on Wednesday, Sunday 28th, getting mixed up there. Ollie Hemmings-Mayer I think his boarding penalty was reviewed. That was upheld. He was then given a 2-game ban and 5 penalty points. So he should, I think, be back. I think with the Bison game schedule, he should be back tonight, maybe. But for the rest of the week until last night, nothing else has currently been set to refer. Just a quick update. This is from the National Division, and it actually refers back to Jonathan Yanstis' penalty for the net guard incident. The League Management Committee actually put out a discipline update to explain what happened for this one. So the main quote from the article was a bit of a mouthful, so pardon me while I read this one. Neck laceration protectors must be properly worn and not modified or altered in any way. For a violation of this rule, after the warning by the referee, a minor penalty shall be imposed. No warning will be given for failing to wear a neck guard. That's an immediate 10-minute misconduct penalty. And if a neck guard comes off during play, the player must leave the ice immediately and cannot retrieve it. There is no discretion available for officials. A player not wearing a neck guard shall be assessed a misconduct penalty, not a minor penalty for illegal equipment. In game situations where a linesperson rather than the referee observes the infraction, they're required to wait until the natural conclusion of a break in play. Basically, they've got to wait for the next whistle. And then should the linesperson witness an infraction committed by an attacking player, undetected by the referees, prior to the attacking team scoring a goal, the linesperson will report what they've witnessed to the referees. The goal will be disallowed, it will be wiped, and an appropriate penalty assessed. So this now brings in the neck guards into the same kind of category as a helmet. So you lose your helmet during play, you're supposed to go straight off. If not, it's illegal equipment. And now this is the same for neck guards. Should we have a quick look at news elsewhere around the league? Okay, let's have a quick look at what we have. Milton Keynes Lightning announced on Wednesday that Ilya Karenchuk has left the club. He joined last summer, scoring 25 points, 13 goals in 22 games. Some speculation amongst Lightning fans that this was down to them having 5 imports and he wasn't getting the ice time. However, he was picked up from the Elite League and they beat multiple Elite League teams to his signature. So it could be he heads back up a league. Romford Raiders announced on Friday that Sean Miller has left the club following a season-ending injury. Miller had 159 points in 83 games for the Raiders, and this season posted 17 goals for 37 points in 21 games. He is the 3rd highest goal scorer for the Raiders, and he is the 4th highest point scorer as well. So that's going to be a bit of a blow for them, especially as they're fighting to keep their playoff spot, with a hard-charging Bristol and Basingstoke coming up fast behind them. However, it was announced that Stanley Johnson has joined the Raiders, having just left the Bison, so that will give them a bit more depth on defence, which is nice. Leeds Knights announced on Saturday that Ian Sobchak has joined from the Seahawks. Seahawks fans seem to think highly of Sobchak, and I've got to admit, when we've seen him in Peterborough, I've thought pretty highly of him as well. He's not been quite as imposing as he was over the last couple of seasons, but he's still a very handy player to have. He didn't play in the Leeds Knights game against the Wildcats last night. He hadn't played enough qualifying games with the Leeds Knights to get in there. However, he will, if he stays with the Knights for the rest of the season, he will pick up enough games to play for them in the playoffs. Leeds also have 5 imports, so it's possible he could be resting imports later on in the season to get them back up. Guys like Matt Bissnet, who's allegedly been playing through an injury, Mikovic as well. So, he could be a good one to watch. The Knights are back in league action, so you could see him play there. And the last couple of bits of Phantoms news, Louis Kinniston and Alex Rushby have both been announced as part of the GB Under-20s team. They're off to Romania this weekend. Their first game is actually almost immediately after this broadcast at 2 o'clock our time, where they will be taking on Spain, which would be nice. If you want to watch that game, nip over to IIHF TV and you can watch it there. And finally, there's always a nice and finally with these. Cam Huff has been selected as the NIHL National Division's Player of the Month for December. He posted 10 goals for 15 points during the month, and so he's been given the award for this month. So there you go. 1/3 of the Unstoppables. So that's it for the news and discipline and everything else. Let's have a quick look at the next segment. Is it interviews?
So director Matt caught up with forwards Joe Gretton and Ralph Sesenis this week. Let's have a look what they've got to say.
Joe, thinking about, we're not far off the Milton Keynes weekend that we've just had, and thinking about that game in particular, you obviously, I heard you come out off the ice after that game. You're always like that, but especially after that game, you're happy. Tell us kind of how the room was, how you were feeling getting a win over the old rivals.
Yeah, it was good vibes for sure. I think a lot of guys were a bit of a mixture of tired and happy. But yeah, there's after wins like that, it's always a good feeling. It was quite similar last week in Romford as well, after 2 big wins on the road, especially with like Christmas. Guys have got the next day off work and stuff. So yeah, it was a good time. Awesome.
And like you said, the guys would have been tired. It was obviously a lot of hockey to play in the weekend. Just the tempo and the style of hockey that it was. How do you guys keep your heads up and keep going? Is it just because you know you're wanting the win? Like, is there what's Ash telling you where to try and keep you guys dialed in?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Like, obviously, we had that chat with Ash that was perfectly timed from his side, and I think also that we've shown multiple times in the year that we never give up. We've come from behind a bunch of times, and it's just always kind of thinking in your head. We've been in worse situations than this, and we've won. So there's absolutely let's just get rolling, because yeah, we showed again on Sunday that we can do that, and obviously the team's got bottle. And that we will never stop. So yeah,
awesome. Obviously we're round about the halfway point of the season now. Obviously it seems like there's been a lot of hockey, I guess, because we've had so much overtime, I suppose, as well. But I mean, how are you? How are the guys feeling with regards to that, and obviously what's to come in the new year as well?
Yeah, I think we're pretty happy with where we're at. Obviously our goal coming into the new year was to be in that top kind of group of the league, which I think we're there or thereabouts. Obviously we'd like to be first, but that hasn't quite happened. But we just wanted to be with a shot of winning trophies, whether that be the cup, which obviously we have the semis coming up, whether that be the league, and obviously the playoffs is a little bit away at the moment, but that's something that is going to be coming around fairly soon as well. So I think we're pretty happy with where we're at, and I think our performances, especially the last sort of 6 weeks or so, have been really complete from sort of minute 1 to minute 60, barring a few periods here and there. But on the whole, I think we've been playing really well, and really starting to gel together as a team now, and kind of adjusted to Ash's systems and what he wants us to do. And obviously we had a few new guys coming into the team as well. So I think you're starting to see the sort of finished package now.
Definitely. And it must be nice as well, like I say, thinking about finishing the 2025, finishing that, being the 4th in the league isn't bad, considering maybe some people thought we might have been further down the table than that. And obviously qualified for Cup semi-finals, was coming up in a couple of weeks. So it must be quite nice to kind of given the fans that as a bit of a Christmas present, something to look forward to going to the new year.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously myself, I've been lucky enough to win the Cup before a few years ago, and it's pretty amazing feeling. And we can, obviously last year we were out, and then you kind of get to, end of January, February time, and you kind of got your place in the league set, and not dries out a little bit, but you know what I mean. You just kind of tootling along until you get to the playoffs. Whereas now, obviously, we have something to play for, and obviously as players, that's what we want as well. That keeps us motivated, and we're really excited for those 2 games against Sheffield, and we fully believe that we can beat them, and of course win the whole thing as well, which would be a really good achievement.
Most definitely, and like you said, because we've been there before, a few of the guys on the team, including yourself, kind of, you know what it takes, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it's not easy, that's for sure. But it's so worth it when you win. Yeah.
Of course, no, definitely. So, messages, feelings, what going into the new year? What have you got to say to the fans? What do you think for yourself? For what's to come?
Yeah, the fans have been amazing this year. Like really, really noticeable. I've said with Bob a couple of times as well that it's a massive difference for us on the bench, especially Sunday. Obviously, packed barn. That was one of the best atmospheres I've in my 6 years here. And yeah, it really helps. So I appreciate you all. We all do, and we all notice it. Trust me, it's been mentioned in the room, and it definitely makes a difference. So please carry on doing what you're doing.
Ralph, good weekend you've just come off of, particularly for yourself, obviously not just for yourself, also for the team. But how did you feel going into that weekend, and did you do anything different? Because it showed on the ice you were pretty well involved.
Yeah, I mean, it was an all-round good weekend. We could have, as a team, probably wanted more on Saturday because, with times we were ahead. But it's always tough going into Milton Keynes and getting a result. It's the same as teams coming here. It's tough for them to get a result. So, but overall, yeah, we'll take the 2 points against a side like MK. But yeah, personally, I mean, I've been playing with a few injuries over the last 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. So I've been trying to manage that. It's not been easy, but I feel like I'm getting closer to full fitness, and of course it's difficult the way the season is and stuff. You can't really miss too many games. I was your full back, so I've been trying to play through it. But yeah, I feel like it's getting sorted.
Awesome. I mean, that's fair, because maybe from some people's perspective they may feel like that we hadn't seen enough of you through the season so far, and certainly this past weekend it looked like your line with Dylan and Corey most of the time that really started to click, and it showed some real promise. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I had high expectations of myself up to where we are, where I am personally, individually. But yeah, like I say, injuries and setbacks have set me back, and it's been one of the toughest seasons I've had in my professional career. But yeah, no, I've played with Corey, before over the years, so I know I've got good chemistry with him. I've spent a full season playing with him and Lucas a couple of years ago, sure. And then yeah, Dylan's easy to play with. He's a smart player, so just get open and he'll find you, and vice versa.
Awesome, and that's good to see. And hopefully, we see a lot more of that going forward as well. We look at the weekend coming up. We've got Bison away. Obviously, that's going to be a challenge. Swindon at home again. Top of the table there. Those guys are challenging for honours. I think that's what they're looking for this season. Yeah. What's the approach for the weekend?
I mean, Basingstoke, I'm sure most people are surprised of how well they've been doing. Maybe on paper they didn't look like the strongest team, but clearly they found something that works, and they're winning more games than they're losing. So yeah, there'll be a tough game. And Swindon, as you said yourself, they've been pretty much top of the table from like week 3 of the season. So. But again, they come in here, so it's a tough place to play for most teams. So we're hoping to get results from both of those.
Most definitely. How's it been as well for the season? I was going to ask you about playing under Ash, because obviously a lot of the guys who've been here several years. Obviously you've been away and come back. Got used to sort of Slava's systems and his way of doing things. I'm sure Ash has brought a lot of differences to the table. How's it been for you to adjust? Because I know you've obviously had a little bit of experience with Ash before, right?
I think most of the team really struggled at the start. We went for a spell where we won 3 or 4 games to start the year, but that's when everyone was still getting grips with things, and then we went on a bit of a bad run, and I think it's only now, maybe last 3-4 weeks, where we're starting to really, everyone being on the same page and playing to the coach's expectations as much as we can. But I certainly feel that there was a bit of a separation in terms of understanding of how he wants us to play, hence why the results weren't where they should have been. But yeah, I think we are all getting on the same page now, hence why we are, winning most of the games.
Definitely. So we've rounded off 2025. It's been a brilliant end to the year, and obviously going into 2026. What's your sort of hopes, aspirations, and I assume, part of the team's aspirations of looking towards the cup games and things as well.
Yeah.
But what are you sort of hoping to or looking to get from the next few weeks at least going forward?
Well, definitely for the long term, we want to be in a playoff position. We are at the moment, and I don't really see us falling out of it. Anything can happen, but we know what we're capable of, and the teams that we're facing week in, week out. So, for myself personally, I just want to stay fit. I've barely had any injuries in my career up until now, and then. Yeah, it feels like it's all happening all at one go, so it's been difficult to play like that. But yeah, I just want to stay fit, so make sure I can keep helping the boys. And then obviously cup, we've won it before recent years, so same thing again. Going
Awesome.
for that.
Excellent. Ralph, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you at the weekend.
Thank you very much.
So that was me muting myself rather daftly. Yeah, so that was Joe Gretton and Ralph Sasenis. Some interesting comments from all of them. I love the way Joe obviously gives a hat tip to the fans, as important as they are, just kind of like sixth man on the ice. But it was interesting for me to listen to Ralph's talking. So I didn't actually realise he had an injury.
I didn't either. I don't think that's ever been mentioned.
Obviously, the nature of the injury wasn't mentioned, and I don't think we'll push on that one. But yeah, I mean, he's saying that he's coming back to fitness, so it'd be interesting to see kind of what happens to his level of play, especially now, as he said, he's really getting on well with Corey and Dylan. So yeah,
I think you can see that from the last couple of games. Like that second line has been perfect most weeks.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a way of looking at it, and it's given us some depth in scoring, so we're not only relying on Luke, Yanni, and Cam. So that's really useful to have. And again, we're seeing a lot of industry, a lot of hard work coming through from the third line as well. So it's, and again, this is something else that Ralph's touched on. That with a changing coach, it's taken a little bit of time for things to bed in. There's been a few moments where it maybe hasn't clicked, and now it's coming back in rather nicely.
Okay, well, shall we take a look at the current league table after last weekend?
Yeah, let's have a look at that. So, just before we dive into the match review for tonight, the Wildcats are currently top of the table, 49 points. They are 1 point ahead of second place Sheffield Steel Dogs. However, they do have 3 games in hand. And it's also worth noting that the Knights are also on 30 games with 41 points. The maximum they can go once they hit their 33 games will be 47 points. So really at the moment, I think it's the Wildcats' league to lose. Although now I've said that, you watch. Yeah. All right, let's have a look at the game tonight. Amber, did you want to go through the net minding for tonight, please?
Of course, yes. So we play Swindon Wildcats this evening. I think the likely starter for netminder will be Rennie Marr, and for the Phantoms, it will be Hayden Levine. Save percentages. Rennie Marr currently sits second in the league with 92.2%, whereas Hayden Levine is currently at a 91.9% save percentage, which puts him fourth in the league ranking. Goals against average, Rennie Marr is currently in first place with 2.8, whereas Hayden Levine is currently in 9th position with 3.88. I think noteworthy statistics to mention, Hayden Levine is still first in the league for shots against with currently 1,324, whereas Marr is 7th in the lead with 727 shots. Even just looking at those statistics, it's evident that the Swindon Wildcats defence are doing a much better job in preventing the Bucks getting through to their net. Having said this, Hayden Levine is currently facing around 44 average shots per game, whereas Ma is facing an average of 25.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I mean, when you think about
Mm.
it, Levine has faced nearly twice as many shots as Rennie Marr, not Jordan Marr. You get so used to having a Marr in net for us, it's a bit of a surprise when it's not. So yeah, Rennie Marr. I mean, he's been in kind of the top two, and I think in national division terms, he's probably elite. Yeah,
Mm.
he's an elite goaltender. He has played elite league, but for national division, I think he is probably an elite player. Should we have a look at the forwards now?
Of course, yep.
So, top goal scorers. I bet you can't guess who ours is. So, top goal scorer for the Swindon Wildcats is Tyler Watkins. Let me just move this over. There we go. So, top goal scorer for the Wildcats is Tyler Watkins. He's got 23 goals, currently sits 7th in the league. Top goal scorer for the Phantoms, no real shock, 36 goals, Cam. He's now 9 goals ahead of Jake Bricknell at the Pitbulls. And he is currently first in the league. Now, in terms of points, Tyler Watkins, again, he is the top point scorer for the Wildcats. Now, he's currently sat 17th in the league with 40 points, so it's 23 goals, 17 assists. But I think it's definitely worth watching the fact that the Wildcats have goal scoring all the way across. Yeah, it's not as though it's concentrated in the top 2 lines as it is for us at the moment. So yeah, that's a lot of points. In terms of other bits and bobs on the scoring, obviously we know Cam is number 1 in goals, Yanni Lakkonen is number 1 in assists, and Luke Farrar is number 1 in overall points. So all 3 of those players are in the top 10 for points. In terms of goal scorers, I think we've got 2 in the top 10. But it's also worth noting that the Phantoms are the only team with 3 players in the points top 10 at the moment. I think it's Bristol and Raiders who maybe have 2 players each in there. If you get to see that one. Now we've had an interesting question come in from Emma. Talking about any players to watch in tonight's game. Yes, Ben O'Connor, without a doubt. Former GB international, massive experience for Elite League. He's always entertaining. I think he's played in Kazakhstan as well. Might have had another shot elsewhere in Europe. And if I remember rightly, he also scored an absolutely bizarre goal for GB, going through his own legs to score. I wish I could remember who it was he was playing against, but I remember watching that one on IHF TV back in the day. But yeah, he's the top scoring D-man in the league. He has 33 points, so 7 goals, 26 assists. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the points being spread amongst all the players in the Wildcats rather than being concentrated in a couple of lines. The other Wildcat to watch is Logan van der Meeracker. He is on 33 points as well, 14 goals, 19 assists, and that is in 26 games. So yeah, head-to-head record, Phantoms Wildcats is currently 2-1 in favour of the Phantoms.
I mean, we've had another comment. It's going to be a close
sorry,
one.
I misread that.
But we can beat them on home ice. That's very true. If we're going to win, it probably will be on home ice.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the case. So Al Flavor, thank you for that one. That's a goal, and he's got a score prediction there as well, 3-2. I'd be interested to see how that goes. In terms of goals against, Wildcats keep it very, very low, but they don't score many. Generally, it's a 4-2 goal difference for them. For us, it's not quite as good. We're currently fifth in the league for the number of goals scored per game, 3.87. And Wildcats are 3.8. So, yeah, I think it could be very close. Could end up being a 4-3 kind of scoreline, or it could be an absolute blowout. You never know. Yeah. Amber, have you got any final thoughts on this one?
No, I think it's going to be a close game. With it being such a hard weekend last weekend, I think the boys will be in the mindset of trying their hardest, especially after the loss last night as well. But again, it is on home ice. They do come out fighting on home ice a lot more. Especially, I think when I saw it yesterday, there was over 900 tickets sold for tonight's game. So I think it will be a good crowd, and that should massively help build the atmosphere in the rink. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I think that's going to be the case. I think Swindon D are going to have their work cut out for them tonight as well. If nothing else, I mean, if you look at someone like Jasper Foster and Morgan Clark Pizzo, they're very fast, very gritty players, and I think that could end up being actually quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Wildcats have, I was just having a quick look at the stats. Wildcats have conceded 66 goals, Phantoms 123. That's probably not the way round you'd want to see that particular stat. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games. It's either going to be really close or it's going to be an absolute rout.
Absolutely.
But I don't think any team can come into Peterborough and just assume they're going to walk away with the points. Not anymore.
No, anything can happen on the night.
Absolutely. So if anyone else has any score predictions, please feel free to fire them in. Just pop a note in the comments down below. And then producer Matt or our lovely moderating team will pick them up and fire them over to us, and we'll pop them up online for you. So that's it for our game preview. On to the shameless plugs.
Okay, so we have some new items available online and in the shop. I think it will show up in a minute. We have some new pajama bottoms, which are very, very nice because I have seen them in person. They come in either green and blue tartan or red and black. They are currently £25 and you can order online, or if you want to see them in person first, you are more than welcome to pop into the shop on game days. As for events, the Supporters Club have a movie night coming up on January the 25th. The game itself will feature Phantoms wearing special themed jerseys. Friday the 23rd is Watch Back Night, featuring memorable moments, the biggest games and unforgettable nights in the Phantoms history. Prices are £7.50 for non-members and £5 for members, which includes food on the night. Grab your tickets by heading to the Supporters Club Facebook page or visiting their table in Skate Hire, which is also available on match nights. Just a reminder, the Cup semi-final, the first leg, are currently on sale. However, remember, these are not included in your season tickets. So I'm sure, I haven't checked recently, but I'm sure they are selling out pretty quickly because that is normally quite an electric night. So definitely go ahead and book them. Tickets for the game tonight are still available. If you can't make it in person, you can watch it on the live stream. Both are available from www.gophantoms.co.uk. The link for the stream is in the description below. But also, please remember to like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all our interviews, post-game interviews, and most importantly, this show.
There you go. Yeah, we have lots of stuff. Yeah, I think on note for the semi-final tickets for the cup, in previous years the games have not been included in season tickets, but if you speak to Ian in the shop, you can reserve your season ticket seat for that game, as long as you're there to turn up. So yeah, as I said, that's it for us for this evening. This afternoon, we've run over slightly, so anyone that's still with us at this point, thank you very much. We are going to be heading down to the rink soon for the game. Hopefully, we'll see you there. If not, you'll be able to join Alan and Phil on our live stream, which will start broadcasting at around 5:15. So, again, thank you to producer Matt for everything put together. Apparently, 902 tickets have now sold. So, the best way to get your ticket is go online and grab it now. Anyway, like I say, thank you very much to producer Matt. Thank you to Tracy and Emma, who have been our lovely moderators on the chat.
Oh.
Sorry, Jamie's
Sorry,
just
Dan,
asked.
I think we've just had a comment.
Yes. Can we get Phantom socks? I think I'm going to have to ask that one in the shop tonight.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't think I've seen any, but that would be something we could hopefully deliver.
Oh, I don't see why not. I mean, yeah, they're not in the shop yet. So you never know. Maybe, we'll mention this one to Ian this evening. I think he'll get a laugh from that, but you never know. So, Jamie, when you go into the shop next, you should ask Ian as well. Don't forget to give him your shoe size. Right. That's it for us for tonight. This afternoon, even. Oh, so used to this being an evening thing. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this, I've been Dan. This has been Amber. If you haven't enjoyed it, I've been Matt. She's been Tracy. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.